Varmt välkomna till SLUs professorsinstallationsföreläsningar 2024. Igår var det 7 professorer som berättade för oss om sin forskning här i studion på SLUs campus Ultuna i Uppsala. Och idag ska vi få möta 4 ytterligare professorer. Ni som deltar via länk, ni hittar programmet på slu.se/professorer. Och ni kan också skicka frågor efter föreläsningarna och då använder ni e-postadressen som ni ser i bild nu, nyaprofessorer@slu.se. Och ni som är här i rummet, ni kan också ställa frågor, då får ni räcka upp handen så kommer det en mikrofon. Och den är en förutsättning för att frågan ska gå ut i sändningen. We will begin with a very hot topic, artificial intelligence. So I would like to warmly welcome Abuzar Nazi Rmadi.
I believe that research in agriculture can be a powerful tool to create a positive impact to support our farmers, our society, environment, and our future generations. That's why I became a researcher in agriculture. My name is Abuzar Nazi Rmadi. I'm professor of digitalization in agriculture engineering. My research is mainly about development of different digitalization tools and techniques in crop and livestock farming, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and robotics, with a particular focus on shifting from traditional farming practices to smart and AI-driven farming systems. My background in engineering and agricultural science motivates me to apply different technical and smart solutions in agriculture to address challenges in this sector. By integration of digital tools and development of advanced technologies, I hope my research activities reduce production costs, increase efficiency, and improve job satisfaction in different agricultural contexts.
Welcome, Abuzar.
Thanks.
You just mentioned in the video that you hope that your research could lower production costs, boost efficiency, and enhance job satisfaction in agricultural contexts.
Yes.
And we will come back to that soon.
Yes, exactly.
But before we go into your research, I would like to ask you if you could say something about the general potential of AI in education and research at SLU.
Okay, that's a very challenging question. Yes. From my point of view, I personally have no concern about AI in Sweden and SLU because we our daily life use different smart tools and digital solutions, which also AI integrated that one for, I don't know, shopping, payment, and different things. Mainly in Sweden, it's very normal and usual. So students are familiar with such cases. I also had the chance to talk with different researchers here and discuss about the topics, courses, and something like this, and found that the level of the work is really advanced and high. There is no discussion about it. We have seen yesterday and we will see also today. So, and the scientists, all researchers also, they understand the AI and how we can bring it to the research. But indeed, there are some gaps. And so this is the duty of a person like me to try to sort it out and then to bring it in a way which we can use AI there. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let's go back to the Swedish farmers.
Yes.
There are many possibilities with digital solutions for farmers, and you will talk about them very soon. But when talking about AI in agriculture, are there any risks or disadvantages that you would like to mention?
Yeah, of course. So let's say some risk like data protection and privacy is high because we work with data.
and discrimination and bias also could be another case if you start to train your models or AI with the wrong information and data. It will also lead, and output would be also wrong, and would be have some mistakes. And the cost also for now, the AI-based systems are expensive. Might be some of the farmers or some countries may not be able to bring it to the farming system. And it also affects on the job security. So for a short time, indeed, but in future, they would be better. People would adopt it themselves. Yes.
How could it affect job security? Just a few more words.
You know, for example, if in agriculture, just imagine we have different robots and then AI could control one farm. Just imagine greenhouse, which is more sensible. So we would need less people to work there. And that also could be one case. And out of agriculture, we have more pressure. The good thing in agriculture, because we need to have some practical cases, the farmers need to be involved. The risk compared to other cases, from my point of view, is for the job security is less, but it will happen.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about AI and how it could make farming more interesting for the new generations to come in agriculture?
Yeah, I will discuss about it. Good you ask now, so you save my time there. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Unfortunately, in most of the countries, the new generations, they are not that much interested like their parents to work in agricultural field. Maybe in Sweden is the same. So, and these tasks, these jobs in animal farm or crop farm or forest, any case of the related context, it's a difficult task. So, and the new generation, maybe they are not that much interested. And if we develop some system which can support them for better decision making as an assistant, then that makes the job much easier. Just imagine a farmer has thousands of animals, I don't know, pigs or other animals. So then if we have a system can detect a specific problem and then inform the farmer, so that makes the job much easier, and then they would be more satisfied.
Okay, and maybe this, what you just mentioned, could improve the job satisfaction for farmers in general.
Yes, yeah.
Not only the new generations. Yeah.
No, the old generation. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Well, please take the stage to give us your lecture, and I would like to introduce Abuzar Nasir Ahmadi, Professor of Digitalization in Agriculture Engineering, and he's going to talk about next generation of farm management system, the potential of artificial intelligence.
Yes, thank you, Malin. Good morning and welcome to my presentation. Let's start our day with artificial intelligence in agriculture. So, this is a photo of a farm which you may see some buildings down, and on the right side, a crop field. Soil also almost ready for cultivation, and we can see a sky and have some information about the weather. There are some houses on the end, but let's call them market. So we have tree also, or forest. There are some dots, black dots here, they are animals. So, and pasture also here, and some related things to the farm. If the farmers want to manage such a farm or some part of the farm, they need to consider different factors. For example, weather, crop, and something which I mentioned here, and you can see others as examples. So they are just some of them, and if you consider each of them, we would also have some sub-parameters: soil itself, crop, animal, forest, and other cases. So there are some different challenges which I mentioned. One of them, global warming, increasing population, and the farm and other cases. And the farmers need to use or shift to new farming strategies to increase their productivity, efficiency, to earn more money for them and also support the others. So it makes the job much more complicated. Also, if you see, they have also correlation between each others. You can't say crop can be alone. No, you need to consider other cases. And it shows this is complex task and difficult and complex task. So how can we manage it? How can we support them from the scientific point of view, from university scientists? So if you consider all of those factors during the time, we can say, okay, we have data. If we have data, such a complex and diverse situation, we need to have some advanced models or algorithms to be able to analyze them. So we have data, we have models, and what else? We need to have a good computational power to start to analyze them. So there is also a connection between them. So when we have those three parameters, technically we are able to develop artificial intelligence, or AI, which is simulation of human intelligence by machine. So I won't go to the details of artificial intelligence, but for general information, we have machine learning, which is main part of AI, which we program computer to learn, understand from the data. And these days, maybe you also see the deep learning, which is part of the machine learning, state-of-the-art techniques. So let's see how can we use them in practice, bring them to practice in agriculture. So for crop production. For crop production and crop monitoring, we need to monitor crop features like, for example, the growth, their health, and other cases, and the surroundings like the soil, weather, and the use of how our management strategy, I mean in terms of using different technologies or machinery. So I would categorize them based the monitoring system on two cases. I would call them ground-based, which we are close to the crop or object, and a bit remote way or in a remote sensing way. So for ground-based, we have data of the farm and crop. We can use optical and non-optical sensors to start to collect some data. Here we don't have one object, one crop. We have plenty of crops. So once again, data, it comes, and then we can use the machine learning or AI to start to support us to detect or find some features from the crop, and then use them also to analyze the data. So when we have the view about what's happening over the farm, we can develop some smart sensor, smart devices here, robot, or any cases to start for monitoring and doing some actions. For example, for like this case, which we use for crop health monitoring or the control of the pests. So when we are over the ground, because we are close to the crop, we have the possibility to digitalize individual crop. So, and the farmer can make decision based on the information we give. Okay, would say some part of the farm, for example, we need to do specific actions. It's not always like this one. In some cases, like this case, we have more diversity. And it's not also possible for us to use ground-based devices. So alternative could be remote sensing, which we use normally the scientists, they normally use satellite images or drone images, and today I will focus on drone. And which is part of the project which we are going to detect and score different type of the plant over there. So we have the any kind of scenes, and drone is a sensor. It's a device which we can attach different optical sensors or other sensors to them. So start to record and collect data. So once again, we have quite a lot of images, we have quite a lot of data, and then we need to get, for example, like machine learning to start to score the condition. This is the simulation of machine learning output, which you can see different colors belong to different objects. You can see the name, maybe shrub, tree, soil, and herbs. So, and they are pixel based, means each pixel belongs to one object. And when you use drone, it flies and then it starts to take different photos, and then you would have, for example, some output like this one, which is the output of the analyzing of the data of the images. So we have those information. Now we have the possibility to use them and develop some AI-driven system, because in agriculture, environment and the surrounding situation is very important. We can get, for example, temperature, rainfall, and other aspects. And in some cases, we also need the input from the user to develop a software solution like this case, or it can be app. So let's have some examples in livestock production. An animal like crop, also we need to know about different status of an animal, like their health, their normal behavior, their drinking, feeding, and their standing or other activities. And they are technically a bit more complicated compared to the crop case, because they move and then animal welfare case comes and the regulation is also different. So in this case, I would categorize them to individually or as a group, to monitor them as an individual animal or group. So for a farm like poultry and pig farms, they are kept as a group. And nowadays the size of farm also increasing because it's more intensive, unfortunately, and sometimes from the animal point of view. So, and the farmer does not have the possibility to attach sensor to individual animal. Also for pig, it's not also feasible. They may remove and damage the sensors. So what's the solution to monitor and get the information from the animal behavior and start to use AI to support them, to support the management of the animal farm? So in a project, we use contactless, non-contact sensor like camera, which is very common now, and then you can use different cameras in each barn or each farm to monitor the pig's behavior. So farmers, they have two options. They can sit and check all the videos, which is not possible. And also the next case could be using some, like this case, developing some smart system to track them, to find their behavior, which here we use deep learning techniques to detect individual animal and start to track them and give the idea about their, some information about their behavior, about their, how they, about the other aspects as well. For example, their feeding and movements. So we will have diagram like that one. Once again, each farm may have different pens and different rooms, and each room may have, I don't know, 10 to 20 different pens, which based on the size of the room, and we use one camera for each pen. So at the end, farmer would have hundreds of those diagrams. So if he or she is very experienced, can see, okay, something is running, but once again, to make job much easier, to support them, to make decision, to make better decisions. So animal like pigs, that we keep them indoor, or they normally are kept indoors. So, and the barn climate situation also affect on their health and welfare. We collected those information and data and the information, and then used technique called sensor fusion, means fusion and mixture of different data, combination of different data to control and making decision about the room. But in some cases, like dairy cattle, they are more expensive in a simple way, and the rearing duration is longer. They stay more on farms, and we have the possibility to attach a sensor to individual animal. Like this case, which is IoT, Internet of Things based, so we collect the data, and using internet, we transfer the data to a server, which can be used to manage the farm. So once again, we have animal. This is outdoor situation, and the environmental aspect also affect on their behavior, health, and things. So we collected some data, and then about to track the animals and to find their activities, standing, lying, resting behaviors, how much they stand and or spend time to rest, and then grazing, rumination, their body temperature, or environmental also data, and then some other aspects. So when you have the data, you can use machine learnings to start to classify them, find the pattern, and then here, for example, to say, okay, that was the health case, and then to say whether it's positive or negative. But once again, to make it much easier and much more better for the farmers, you can use different decision system, like here expert system, to find their productivity and then notify some health issues or related cases to farmers. Okay, some examples about the application of AI and in agriculture. But what is the future? Okay, if we have, or a farmer has a problem, the first question he or she may ask can be something like, what happened? This is a very normal question we may ask also from other contexts as well. So from data analytics point of view, we can answer that question by developing descriptive analytics. So some models, mathematical machine learning models, to understand what happened for such a farm. It can be positive problem or something also, sorry, some negative problems or something positive also. And the next question, why did it happen? This is a very common case, and we would call it diagnostic analytics. So some models to find the reason of any sort of problems. And the next question can be, what will happen in future? So I know that happened, I know the reason, but I should be aware for the future. So we would call it predictive analytics, which we use machine learning to forecast and predict the future. So we should have data from other steps to give to the predictive analytics to understand and forecast the future cases. And the last question could be, what should I do? Give me some solution. And we would call it prescriptive analytics. So we prescribe with AI some solution and recommendation to farmer or user or any other stakeholders. So when we move from descriptive to prescriptive analytics, the complexity will be more, and then we will have much more complex situation at the end, because we need more data, and the AI input also will be higher, more there in the descriptive analytics. So I presented some of my research works. Definitely future work also will be continuing similar cases in new and more advanced cases, and try to answer those questions, specifically predictive and prescriptive analytics. If you want to answer those questions, you need to all before answer this question. So in this case, development of different smart sensor and machines like robots also can be helpful to you try to support farmer and to answer some question. At the end, some AI could recommend some solution for any sort of problems. Thank you very much. And then, yes.
Thank you very much. I understand that you're suggesting that there are specific factors in Sweden that make AI particularly beneficial for agriculture in this country. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. Sweden is a country which you move from south to the north, you will see quite a lot of different agricultural and field and weather condition, and things are absolutely significantly different. So it shows once again diversity and complexity. And the population also, compared to the size of the country, there is not the balance. From my point of view, from the management of point of view, it's not balanced. Means we need also someone to work in different cases. We have crop animal farms, then also forestry, some involved on that case. So to sort out the problem, I would say AI could be a good assistant to people to make their job, as I said, much easier, to understand about the problem, to forecast some problems, and something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And you're welcome with your questions as well, of course. Do we have a question from the audience? Yes, 1 and 2. Here, Patricia.
Yes, I was very interested in the surveillance of animals. So you showed the pigs first as an example of group monitoring, and then the cows, which are individually monitored.
Yes.
Do you think in the future it will be possible to monitor also pigs individually by using small chips that you maybe have inside the pig instead of the big monitors around the neck of the animals? And that would be an improvement then of the surveillance.
Yes, that will happen in future, definitely. And nowadays also we are able to track individual pigs by using camera, not for the whole period, but for a short time also, maybe some hours. And the use of chipset also, it's the next case, which it can automatically transfer the data, and we can understand about that cases. Definitely it will happen, and it's ongoing, some of the progress. Yes.
We have another question.
Thank you for a very interesting lecture. I have a question that might be stepping into social sciences a bit. I know a lot of farmers see one of the big burdens adding to the complexity is the number of legislations they have to, and guidelines, and the amount of reporting they have to do. Have you thought about adding that into the mixture of issues that has to be brought into the decision making, and also maybe the reporting part of? I know they have to report their actions on pest management and so on.
Yes. From the digital point of view, we have that possibility nowadays, like this blockchain technologies, or digital twin technologies. So we have that possibility to support farmers, at least for documentation, and make their job much easier, and then digitalize the work to reduce the work of such cases. Yes, that's possible. Indeed, there are some research going in that case to make it possible. I'm not expert on that field, but yes, it is ongoing. Yes.
Yes, please.
Hello, thank you very much for the talk. You said one of your motivations is to keep the young generation in the farming sector.
Yes.
From my own experience and when talking with people, it's not that they fear hard work. It's usually that the financial means just don't end up at the end of the month. And I was wondering, since you want to bring more technology to the farm, I think, which will obviously cost, that the most productive farms and the most maybe big farms, they can afford the technology, making them even more competitive, and hence pushing out smaller farms. So I think we have to be very careful when introducing technology that it is fair in a sense, because otherwise we're just gonna follow the path that we still have. So I would like to know your opinion on that.
Yeah. This is also one of the big discussions, whether AI would shift, then the, let's say, big companies or big names would get that one and they control the others. This is still big discussion everywhere. So for the farmers, that I said, that makes them interested is not just about the load of the work. As I said, they can earn money in simple way. So why do we do the job to earn somehow for the farmers? Mainly also the financial case is also important. They need to run their life, their family, and different cases. So if we use technologies to reduce our losses and increase the efficiency, then in other way also we receive more feedback, economically also. But the cost currently is high. That's true. Maybe some small farmers or developed low-income countries, they will not be able to support their farmers. Yeah, but it will be better definitely in future, by the scale or the work running different part of the world. So we will have it. I always give this example to the students about the phone, smartphones and different, or USB memory stick. When it was at the beginning, it was super expensive, and now everybody may have 20 or quite a lot office or home. So that comes and then make the things much cheaper. Then we can support farmer from economic point of view.
Thank you for being so active with questions. Now we only have time for a last question. So a short question and a
Yes.
quite short answer,
right.
please.
Like 50, 100 years ago, we thought the oceans and atmosphere was an unlimited resource for us to use as a recipient. Is there a risk that we end up in the same situation with computational power? We're just using more and more computational power, and in 50 years we will ask, how could we use so much power? Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's also the next concern. I agree with you. So the computational power and AI system, we just developed them in some years, which we are in this level. And my concern is what will happen in the next 20 years when we develop different models with quite a lot of data which we collect these days and feeding to. So unfortunately, this is also another concern and risk. And then maybe, hopefully it won't happen, but they also can control some of cases which we don't like them. But this is another risk. I agree with you. Yes.
There are many questions
Yes.
to answer, Abuzar. So
So-
good luck with your
Thanks.
with your research and
All right.
building your group. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Now we will have a short break until 9:40, and then we will meet Lutz Ahrens. So we'll come back in a few minutes.